Peace. Welcome to Spears and Mike's, a hip hop, knowledge, and streets podcast. We got a very special guest today with us. We got Brother Tiny from the Black Spades New Direction in the building with us to drop some history about the Black Spades, the Casanova Crew, what it was like in the Bronx. Very special guest, very dear elder to us. Um, Thank you for coming on, Tiny. We appreciate you, respect you, and honor you, big brother.
Peace and
Peace.
blessings, peace and blessings, my brothers. And listen, it's an honor to be here. You understand with you guys as well. You know, our history is a special history amongst the Zulus, Casanovas, Gestapos. You understand spades, and we all are like all the different entities that's birthed out of the spades. So I thank you, brother, for allowing us to be here, for allowing me to be here today. There's a lot of things, stories going on, but I want to just get to the point about myself right now, how I started with the spades. I was born and raised in Harlem on 142nd Street between Lenox and 7th Avenue. When I moved to the Bronx, I moved at a very early age into public school. Right there, you understand, Mount Haven on 143rd and Alexander Avenue. You understand? My projects was Mount Haven. Mount Haven was a projects that wasn't even known to anyone. I lived right across the street from Patterson Projects. That's where Tiny Archibald, you understand, I ran the Blade Barkley and a few other people came out of Patterson. So Patterson was well known. You understand? And growing up in the South Bronx was kind of different. Coming from Harlem, from a black neighborhood, now to the Bronx into a Spanish and Spanish and black neighborhood was a real difference. I never heard Spanish-speaking people in my life until I grew up the next day in Mount Haven, and I could hear the birds singing, and I could hear people speaking, and it was different because I never heard, you understand, the Spanish people speaking before. So, it was different. But growing up in the Bronx is where my history began. I went to 49. That was a junior high school, and the first gang that I ever became a part of was called Barrett Empire. When I moved to the Bronx, I'm meeting a lot of my Latino brothers and stuff. They were good brothers, good solid brothers, and I was one of the first blacks to join a Latino gang. And I mean, when I say blacks, because Latinos are black too, but when I
Yes,
say
sir.
black, I couldn't speak a word of Spanish.
Mm.
All those brothers were Spanish, and I was the only black brother there. And they used to always get on me and mess with me. But I tell you one thing, I've learned. I learned when it was time to run, I knew the language. And when it was time to fight, I knew the language. But I damn sure couldn't speak no Spanish. But I knew when to run and I knew when to stand still. But and Berlin Empire, and they died out after a while, then all of a sudden in the 70s, the Spades came along, and growing up in a single household, I grew up with my mother. There was 9 of us, and I grew up with my mother as the eldest boy. I was scared of her, even when I was with the Barrett Empire. But the Barrett Empire, just to go back, that was a school thing. That wasn't an outside thing. We just was in the school walking around the Barrett Empire, this and that, just looking bad. But when I met the Spades, it became an outdoor thing where there was many of them, and boy, they were large. So I used to run from them. I ain't never been a gangster. Not even today, I'm not a gangster. Or you're not gonna find too many people. I don't think you're gonna find 2 or 3 people that took anything from me. You understand? When I became a teenager, when I was a child, we always used to taunt us and stuff like that. But nobody never beat me up or jumped me or robbed me. There was one time a brother was trying to rob me, but that's going forward. I'll get to that. But so I've never been a gangster. I've always been a person that where you could always speak to me and always talk to me. That's the way my mother raised me. So when the Spades was trying to get me, I used to run. Man, I,
Mm.
I had them boys chase me for about a month. I used to, and I'm gonna say this the way I need to say it. I think they was the most stupidest people in America. Because how in the world used to chase me from school to my building and not trap me off in front of my building? Then one day, I'm telling you, after about a month, they got smart. They dropped me off in front of my building. They chased me from the school, but they was standing in front of the building. They said, "We got you."
Mm.
Back then, you had to prove yourself to fight. But they chased me so much that John Jones, who was my president, he said, "Man, you ain't got to fight. You down. We done chase your behind so much, you down." So that's how I got in this space. My mother didn't approve of it. But at that time, brothers, the Spades were in neighborhoods, protecting their neighborhoods. And back in the 70s, that's what we had a lot of. It was the heroin epidemic, and the heroin was popularizing, monopolizing our community, and they were like the dope fiends was robbing people. So back then, when we started, we was protecting our neighborhood. Yeah, we was doing most of the dirt in the neighborhood too. The police knew who to come to, but they also knew who was doing what in the community. They know no outsiders was in that neighborhood doing anything because of the strength that we had. So, my mother didn't like it, but we went along with it. And as I was in the 14th, my president was John Jones, and he used to hang around the first division, and he got permission from Monk, who was the supreme president, to start a division down in the South Bronx. And that's how the 14th division started. And they came from Patterson. Now, mind you, as I told you, Mount Haven wasn't even known to anyone. Patterson was the project, just like you got Eatonwall, and you got the Gun Hill project, and you got Soundview and Bronx River. Patterson in the South Bronx was the projects down there that was known. Mount Haven got on the map later on towards the hip hop era and the Spades, but basically a lot towards the hip hop era. But so I joined the 14th Division of Spades, and I was just a member, just doing my thing and just hanging out, getting into our little this, that. And I think in 1972, my grandmother and them lived in Harlem, and we had a paper route. Me, my cousins, all my cousins who were Spades, I brought them to the Bronx, even though they still lived in Harlem. And the brother tried to rob us, but he wasn't trying to rob them. He was trying to rob me because because they didn't have their jackets on. I had my jacket on, and he wanted my jacket. And there was a rule: you can get beat down and you can get almost killed, but you better not leave that jacket. Matter of fact, they'll love you more. I think they loved us more if we was dead before we allow our jackets to be taken from us. And that was a rule amongst the Spades. And boy, we fought like hell. And a lot of brothers got shot and stabbed and wouldn't give up their jacket. But that day I wouldn't give my jacket up because I was living according to the code of the Spades. So he shot me. And I didn't know I got shot because he had a 22 in his pocket, and he shot me. And all this is in our documentary that we put up. And he shot me through his pocket, and he hit me in it. And then he ran down the block, and then my cousin, our father, came around the corner and chased him, and so on and so on. So then after that, that really started my adventure in the Spades. And after that, you understand, as I got stronger and stronger, I didn't quit. I stayed in the Spades, and then how brothers admire you and you go to jail or you get shot or you get beat up, they think you this, but I wasn't nothing because I was, in my heart, I didn't want to get hurt no more in life, but still I stayed in the Spades because I don't know, I just stayed with my brothers. And we just had a lot of fighting, a lot of things. After that, I started a division in Mount Haven of Spades, and I became president of the 14th Division, Chapter 1. Now, mind you, the 14th Division was in Millbrook, Patterson, Melrose, Jackson, and Mount Haven. We had divisions in all 5 projects down there, but Kansas wasn't even built then. Okay, so Batanzas wasn't built, so there was nobody there. And we also had Spades up on Cypress and Beekman, but they were different. There was the 6th Division and the 7th Division, and the 14th occupied all the surrounding projects, so we became big. Then one day we had a fight. We had a fight on Morris Avenue with the Pearls, and that's when the 17th came in. The 17th was on Brook Avenue. The 17th was on Brook Avenue, on 152nd and Brook Avenue, and they were surrounded by the Latino gang, which is the Bachelors, and they used to fight them brothers day in and day out because they was the only all black. And then, like I say again, we all black, but we are separated, as they say, as far as customs and language. But all black, non-speaking brothers that was on the 17th, and the Latinos ran that neighborhood, every block around it. But the 17th had that one building, and they occupied that building for a couple of years until one day that they burned them brothers out from Brook Avenue, 152nd Street, and the 17th left Brook Avenue and came up into Mount Haven. The 17th was a powerful division. It wasn't a lot of them, but they were powerful. And when I say that the Bachelors ran them out, they didn't run them out. They burned them out. That's how they got them out. Because they fought them brothers. I mean, in that building, they occupied that building, and as you know, back in the days, that's what we had burned out buildings and people played in them and things. So it wasn't a lot of people in the building. It was a lot of squatters and things like that. So that's how they was able to occupy that whole building and stayed there so long before, you understand, the Bachelors burned them out completely. And that's how the 17th got up into Patterson. And the 17th, like I said, was a real powerful division. And it's like we were still going up to Soundview because, you know, Soundview used to hold the meetings, monthly meetings with everybody. Every division of Spades. We would send about 4 or 5 representatives, the president and so on, and they would come up to Soundview, and that's when we used to all pay dues. We paid dues to the first division, and we used to all came. Then all of a sudden, Coke, we had a meeting one day, the 14th and the 17th, and Coke just said, yo, listen, man, we ain't paying dues no more. And we went up there. So we went up there, and we, you know, it wasn't a beef or nothing. We just felt that the dues money should go another way, not the way one man should want it. So we stopped paying dues, and we came when we go. Now the 17th, like I said, it was a madman's division. There was a lot of divisions that were mad, but the 17th was a chaotic, awesome, mad division where they started trouble just to fight. They got sick and tired of just sitting on the bench, and they just went start fights. And we fought everybody, and the 14th was there with them, and the 14th had heart, but I would have to say it, and whoever hear it, don't like it, that's on them. But the 14th had heart, but the 17th had gorilla heart. And there wasn't a lot of them. It was about 20 of them brothers, man. And they fought, and they didn't care what the odds was. Matter of fact, the 100 to 1 to them was a good number. It was on a fist fight. It was a good number, and that's how awesome they was. Them brothers, Coke. Robbo was the president of the 17th, but Robbo went to jail, and this is when Robbo went to jail. Coke took over, and we got into a lot of battles, and then a lot of chaos was taking apart the Bronx, was taking place all over the Bronx, and so this is where Monk gave Coke supreme of the South Bronx. He wasn't supreme of all Spades, but he was the supreme of the South Bronx. Now, this is before all the divisions turned over to the 17th, because Coke was saying, man, why we all down here and we all running this and we all that? Even though he was the supreme, and the presidents could still stay the presidents, they could be like just coming from different areas, but just be one division, 17th. Right. So he turned everybody into the 17th, and those in Melrose still stayed presidents, the Jackson president, but we had one supreme down there now. At that time, Coke took me out of the 14th division and put me into the 17th division. He didn't ask me, he put me. And he brought me in as a spokesman. And as a spokesman, he wanted me to basically be his eyes and ears, because, like I told you, brothers, I ain't never been a gangster. I don't go around and say, what the F, what the, yo, come in, mother. Nah, I've never talked like that. Now, I can, but I don't. And he appreciated the way we talk, because the brothers that he had in the 17th, you couldn't even send them to the bathroom without a fight. You couldn't send them to the bathroom without a fight. And they didn't care if they fight women, babies, or little. I mean, I seen Sly fight a blind boy one day. God bless him, Sly's dead. I seen him fight a blind. Sly, what are you doing? Say, yo, man, he hit me with his cane. He can't see. But he started fighting him. So, Coke, Coke. Whenever we had a meeting or whenever we had to go with other divisions and things like that, Coke would send the warlords with me because you would always send 2 or 3 people to go sit down for a sit down or something. And he would tell them, y'all better not say a word. Let Tiny handle it. That's because he trusted me. Coke was a giant, but he was a gentle giant. Like I told you brothers before, he was a good brother and he was a gentle person. And he wasn't a person that was a savage. Like, when you say savage, you got those brothers that just do things just to do things. Even though he was in the 17th, he fought with his brothers no matter what, right or wrong. But he fought with them. But if you would have left it to him, he would have, he wouldn't let you dominate nothing. He wouldn't let you occupy nothing, but he wouldn't look for war. The brothers in the 17th look for war. So anyway, whenever he sent me to do something, talk to the police or talk to the community, talk to the community, Slide, the warlords would go with me, but they couldn't say nothing. Because he knew if I came back and I said, well, Coke, we got to go to war. He knew that I wasn't going to war because it's what I wanted to do. It was because it's what we had to do. He knew if he said, yo, Tiny, what do you think? I said, man, I think we should leave this alone. A lot of times the warlords would say, yo, man, Tiny, man, I tell you, man, we let Martin Luther King nigga home, man. We can't go to it. Man, they called me Martin Luther King. When the Cooley Eye came out, they would call me preacher. I had so many different names. And that's because I wasn't a real person, and they always try to compare me to somebody. But anyway, Coke took my advice, and whenever I suggested, and don't get me wrong, there's a lot of times I said we need to strike, and we need to strike first. Because if we didn't strike first, I could sense the feeling that we would get hurt. And thank God we strike first, or we didn't strike first. We saved a lot of lives. A lot of brothers say, yo, Tiny, you saved a lot. Even when I see brothers today, they say, yo, thank you, Tiny, because you got the spades off and you did this. It wasn't that. It was just that being raised by a mother, I was taught a lot of different things. She taught me to protect my sisters. She taught me to protect women. But in the same token, she taught me not to take no mess from no woman either. Because you mess around and boy, you get the wrong one. She'll have you sell your soul. So that's what I did. And so, we did that. And the spade, we were awesome, man. There was a couple of times we did a lot of things. I don't know if you guys know when we did the movie of The Education of Sonny Carson. Sonny Carson was a revolutionary at that time that lived in Brooklyn, known by everybody. You understand this black nationalism. And we met with the Jolly Stompers, the Tomahawks, I forgot who else it was. And Sonny Carson took us downtown to Chinatown. And it's funny, I was on the phone today with my brother Bo. My brother Bo had the original cast of Sonny Carson. They took him, they got him some new teeth, they did what they had to do to whip him into shape so that he can play the role of Sonny Carson. But the space was just too much. I'm going to describe the rest of it, but we was in a few things they kicked us out of. But let's start with Sonny, and we was in Brooklyn. I mean, even though the 17th was I'm going to use the word a demon division, we had other demon divisions. Like right now, Bobo and them that come from and Brother Rudy, they come from the 2nd Division of Spades off of Whole Avenue. Oh my God, them brothers, they should have been in the 17th too, because the 17th got along with everybody, but they didn't hang out with everybody, because you can't put two snakes in the pit together that want the same thing, because they gonna battle all day long, and there's no right or wrong, because everybody's right and nobody's wrong. But they hung out with brothers who had the same heart that they had. And Rudy and them from the 2nd Division, they had that heart. So we out in Brooklyn, and we shooting the thing of The Education of Sonny Carson. Bobo took all his clothes off in front of everybody, and jumped in Prospect Park. But I don't know if I can curse on the iPad, but
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
butt ass naked, he jumped in the thing and he said, "Yo, Tight, yo, what you doing? I mean, Bobo, what you doing?" He said, "Go get me some soap, man. I ain't washed up last night." And he washed, and then he washed up in the car. That's just one crazy thing. Then we had a
That's crazy.
scene. We had a scene, and I think all y'all seen the education of Sonny Carson, or if all y'all didn't see it, you will see it. There's
Yeah,
a
yeah, we
scene
seen
in
it.
there. There's a scene in there where they have the gang fight, but you see them with the jackets now. That was a real fight. They took that. Now they redid it for the movie, but if you ever look in the magazine, you can't see faces good because they used that scene as a promotion. That was a real fight. That was the Spades fighting the Jolly Stompers, the Tomahawks, and two other gangs from Brooklyn because they decided to jump us. But they didn't know the madness of the brothers that they was trying to jump. Nobody
Mm,
got hurt. Nobody got stabbed. This was a real fist fight. And when the fight was over, we stood up. They backed up. I mean, all of us getting up off the ground, but the other people got hurt physically. And we marched. We started singing our song. Black Spades don't die. The good die forgot how to go. But then we marched back to our bus, got on the bus, and came back to the Bronx with all our people. And they got rid of us. They kicked us off the movie. 2 months later, 2 months later, I said, "Man, they want some money." So they said, "Well, Tiny, call the studio, man, because I'm the one that got everybody into the movie." So I got a hold of Miss Rose. Miss Rose told me who to call. I think it was Paramount Theater. They was on 59th Street. And I called down there and said, "Yo, man, where's our money?" So we coming down there. We coming down there to get our money. Do you know they closed the building down? And I forgot what floor we went on to. We went up to the floor because they had it we could read it, the floor on the first floor. Do you know they locked everything down and just threw a bag of checks out the door? Them people they were so scared of us and didn't even want to deal with us. They threw a bag. I couldn't tell you how much money it was. I know it was enough money. I got my first pair of glasses and some extra checks I put in my pocket. We had a whole bunch of checks, and we gave everybody that. Because I had a speaking part. When you had speaking parts, you got extra money. When you was just in the cash, you got money. So, and back then it was real cheap, but we got it. So that was that one. And boy, so we all got our money from that, and that, and they just kicked us out of it. And Bo, who had the pleasure of speaking with today, was one of the first brothers. He would, if we didn't get kicked out of the education of Sonny Carson, he would have played the role of Sonny Carson. And that's just
wow.
one of the movies. Now you talking about the Warriors. We were in the Warriors when they had the part with Cyrus up there talking about, "Can you dig it?" We were there, inside the
Mm,
cast. We didn't get no speaking parts or nothing like that, but we was in there. In that scene where you seen all them people standing up in the park, we were all there, wearing their jackets. We none of these scenes, Education, Sonny Carson, the Warriors, were we able to wear our colors? No, we had to put on the jackets that they give you from the movie, which is all right because we got paid for it. But we didn't last. And they pretty much had their own people that they had involved with that, but we were a part of that cast. So, we got paid for that, and we was out of that. Marion Rose, who is my godmother, she's deceased now. She got us involved in that, and so that's how we got in those two movies. But I don't. How many brothers remember when Black Benji got killed? When
yep.
Black Benji got killed, the stage was blamed for Black Benji's death. I think
Right.
Max and all of us, that's when we took our colors off. We took our colors off. In uh, 1973, I think, because I got shot in 72. 73, if my dates is wrong, please forgive me, but I don't think it's too much far off. But in 73, we took our jackets off. And then Monk, and somewhere along the line, Monk said, "All Spades," he got word out. We put back on our jackets. And it was around Easter Sunday. And we went to Coney Island. We was out in Coney Island early that day from about 9, 10 o'clock, 12 o'clock. We was out there all day. We stayed out there till about 7, 8 o'clock that night. And somebody ran up on us, and the Spades from Brooklyn ran up on us and said, yo, half the gangs from Brooklyn know that y'all are out here, and they lined it up to come against y'all. So, coach, I mean, we had the first division, 17th division. It was about 100 of us, but it's about 200-300 of them because that was their neighborhood. And I think that's the worstest thing they ever did, coming against us, because we fought our way out of there and we tore ass. We tore their ass coming out here. We fought the police. We fought everybody coming out of Brooklyn. We didn't lose a man. And the people got punched in the face and hurt and stomped, but we didn't lose one man that had to go to the hospital, one man that went to jail, or one man that got shot. Everybody, the next day we found out that everybody made it home. Yeah, some had to go get a couple of bruises on their faces, but we made it back. And I don't know how many of them got hurt because we didn't stay around to find out, but the bottom line is we fought from the middle of the amusement park all the way back to the train station. And the police took us. I think it was the F&D train. I forgot which one it was. They put us on the train from Coney Island, and they took us all the way back to the Bronx, nonstop. Nonstop back to the Bronx. And that's where they dropped us off at. And the police out there in Coney Island was kind of scared of us. I don't think they ever ran up against a force like that. But now I'll make y'all laugh. As soon as we got back to the Bronx and the subway doors opened, it was all the police standing there. They said, oh, you motherfuckers think y'all bad. Y'all just gonna leave the Bronx and go somewhere else and cause chaos, huh? And we said, all right, it's time to go. Because, the Bronx police, them crackers was crazy. And then they black people too. But, they feared us and didn't fear us. Especially this is their town and our town. So, okay, so we broke out of there because they started grabbing us and this and that. A few of us got arrested that night for disorderly contact or whatever. That's disorderly contact. That's the only time that some of us got arrested here when we got arrested in the Bronx. But out in Brooklyn, ain't nobody get arrested or nothing. But those are some of the adventures of the Spades and some of the things that the South Bronx and we had the second division, the 22nd, the 18th, the 99th, and I mean we had quite a few divisions with us. The 10th division, the young Spades, so skinny before they passed away. We had a lot of them brothers with us. So that's my story with the Spades. Bambaataa, we knew him. We didn't hang out with him. He never went to any war with us. Listen, I'm not going to sit here and talk against him. I'm not going to talk for him. Like I tell everybody, he has to fight his own demons, but he's never been in any wars with us, but he was all right with us. He's never rolled with us and ran with us anywhere, but he was all right with us. But Bam, I think his mind frame was on another level anyways, but like I said, we never had any beef with him or nothing like that. We knew him and things like that, but I'd never been in war or anything with Bam. And like I said, I'm just going to leave that alone for right now. But in 1974, I went to jail. And before I get to the jail part, there was over 100, I think there was over 100 divisions spread it out. And I don't know if you guys know that the Spades was one of the largest and most deadliest. And you can go to news clippings in the 70s. Now, they were large. You had the Savage Skulls. You had the Hell's Angels at the time. Even though there was motorcycles, there was a lot of large group, but we was considered the most largest and most deadliest gang in the city of New York during the 70s. And this is how we had to keep our reputation. And that's how come we was in so many different encounters and so many different fights, because it was the survival of the fittest back in those days. That's how that took part. When I went away in 1974, I went upstate. I did 18. I got 1.5 to 3. I got did a year upstate and came home, and then I did the rest on probation. When I went away, the gangs was like somewhere dying out. When I came back home in 1976, 76, when it was 74, 76, the games were practically gone. What I mean by
Mm,
gone, you had a few diehards, but they were practically gone. The colors were gone. You know, like I said, you had your diehards that walked around and they never take their jackets off. You had some spades like that that never take their jacket off. One of those good spade brothers was Dynamite. He's passed away now for the last what, 8, 5, 6 years. He's been gone. He ain't never. And Josie Wells, them two. They must be slept in their jackets and I don't know. They must be did
Uh,
everything in their
I wanna
jacket.
I wanna say something real quick, brother.
Right.
Me and the brother Watt, at the Zulu anniversary,
Uh,
we had the pleasure of kicking it with Dynamite a couple times,
mhm.
where the brothers was drinking spade juice, as they called it.
Yeah.
And we was in the
Definitely,
building there,
definitely.
and we was the only young Zulus that was rocking with the spades. They were vibing with us. We were kicking it with them. They was telling us stories, and we were so honored. But the brother Dynamite took a liking to myself and the brother
Mhm.
Watt, and he was just talking to us the whole night, man, and we were just soaking it up. He gave us a sip of the spade juice at the time. We used to drink or whatever. We used to party, but not no more.
Mhm.
But yeah, man. Rest in peace to Dynamite. He was an incredible brother. There is a lot of incredible brothers with the
Yes.
spades. So when you
Yes.
said that name, I just wanted to give the brother the
Yeah,
honor that is due to
Yeah.
him.
And,
definitely,
and listen, I
definitely.
appreciate that too because when I came back home and now the Spades and everything had died, they were basically died out. A lot of the brothers, you understand, was doing their own different things and this and that. And now you had the crews. When I came home, I met the Casanova Crew. Now the Casanovas were like I would consider them baby spades because they was up under the spades inside of Patterson as when the spades was a little older. One of the brothers that created the spades, his name was Big Man. He passed away now. He created a name, but Peanut, who was a spade, took on the image of the Casanovas. This is how this is how we got involved with hip hop. And let me start from the beginning with that. Marion Rose again, my godmother, who got us into all these things when we were spades. She came to me one day. She said, "Come here, Tony. I need you." She said, "I said what?" I said, "What, godmother?" She said, "Did you see this dude here? I need you to protect her." Now I just come home. She knew the status. She know how big we are in our neighborhood, and there ain't nothing going on in our neighborhood without us. And she know I just came home, but she said, "I need you to protect this boy." And I said, "Godmother, I just come home." She said, "Okay, but I need you to get the fellas to look out for this dude." And who was that? Grandmaster Flash. Okay,
Mm,
that's before he got all big and popular. But he used to come out into the park and he used to play. And what it was is that at that time, brothers was just running through the neighborhood snatching equipment. So when she brought him to us because she wanted us to make sure that nobody snatched his equipment. See, if he was under us, nobody messed with him in that neighborhood because they knew the reputation of the Casanovas, who they were, and at that time there wasn't a lot of spades. Only Peanut was a spade, but Peanut was under them before Peanut took over. Big Man handed the Casanovas over to Peanut. So when I came home, Peanut was in charge, and of course we were spades, and I used to go out with them, and I wasn't getting high and stuff then. They was all still getting high, smoking their weed and drinking wine and stuff. I never got high until I was 27 years old, and we'll,
mm,
we'll, we'll get to that. But they was all doing their thing, smoking dust and all that. I used to go to the parties with them and all of that. And I think about 77 or 78, Peanut got killed. And there's just a little beef between Peanut and the Boston Road Crew. And it was all over territory because the Casanova Crew was so powerful that wherever they went, they fought. It was still a knuckle game. It wasn't no shooting game. It was just shots here and there, but just a knuckle game. And they used to go up on Boston Road, and all them boys smoking dust between the Boston Road Crew and Peanut, all them smoking dust. They used to get in beef because the Boston Road Crew was mad because the security should have belonged to them because that was their territory. But being at the Casanovas was powerful. And and I used to always go talk to Ray. I work with him on the security tip and things like that. And they would always stay high. And I tell you, the reason why we got the security role with Ray Chandler was basically, and I have to say, is because of me, because of my level head, and I didn't get high at that time. Everybody else was high, getting the smoking dust and this and that. So Ray loved the way, once again, Ray loved the way I talk. And this is how, we got involved with Grandmaster Flash. Even before he got in touch with and involved with Ray, we would be out on the park with him. We would make sure nobody steal his equipment. And if his equipment did get taken, he knew it was nobody but us anyway. Well, the Casanovas, they were doing it. But we started protecting him and nobody would mess with him and things like that. Then he got him. We was with Flash, and it was just the 3 MCs. It was just him, Cowboy, Melly Mel, and Kid Creole, the 2 brothers and Cowboy. Before they became the 4 MCs, then the 5 MCs. Anyway, the Casanova.
Kid Creole.
It was Kid Creole, Melly Mel, and Cowboy. It was them 3 first.
Then, I was just saying, free him, free the brother.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. I know he locked up right now.
Yeah. He need to be free. He need to be out here with the rest of them because I don't think that it was justified for them to lock that boy up all that time for whatever, I don't know. But anyway, I wasn't there. Right. I can't tell you what's right, what's wrong. But he damn sure need to be free. But anyway, so at that time it was just them, and my mother died in '80. So she got a chance to meet Flash for a little bit and stuff like that. He used to come in and out of our house. I'm with the same wife for 44 years. And when her mother was alive, he used to come in and out of our house. Flash used to walk through their door. She said, oh, you think you ain't boy walking through my door? I'm Grandmaster Flash. She said, I'm going to give a damn tiny. I'll kill that boy if he come to my door again. But they took, they respected him because of us, and they took him on, and the family accepted him, and that began our adventure. Now, the Casanovas was one of the most powerful crews in the Bronx. They were 300 to 400 strongs, and when I mean 300 to 400 strongs, they were strong as Casanovas. Before we united with Zulus and before we united with Gestapos, because I'm not gonna lie to you, I didn't know. When I came home from jail, I stayed downtown. I never went back uptown. I didn't know anything about the Universal Nation like that. As I began to learn about them after we almost had our conflict, and that came to a dead halt because once I came to the front of the line, and then other brothers came to the front of the line, and we started seeing that we were all spades. Said hell no. Brothers, these are your spades. Zulu, these are your spades, and Casanova, these are your spades. There's never, ever been a beat between the Casanovas and Zulus and Gestapos again after that. And God bless our brother that's growing from the Gestapo. He stayed with us every day. Spider, his whole crew. Spades and Gestapo used to be in so much trouble together. I can't lie to you. I ain't gonna describe where they did it at and where, but they did so many stupid things together, to get money. And when we used to go to them spots and stuff like that, oh man, I mean, Spider, they loved the ground. Casanova, Spider was a little older, but the Casanovas loved Spider, and then I knew Spider from back in the days and all that. So we became a mighty force together. But like I explained to you brothers before, there's not a promoter, DJ, MC, you understand, that's out there that don't know who I am. Now, whether they like me or don't like me, they don't know who I am or who I was. Or put it like this, who I am. Because Casanovas was one of the most powerful forces out there. And because how I was taking us in that security business, we were one. I consider us, and people say why, and I'll explain to you guys why. We were considered the first paid security of hip hop. The reason why Zulus and all them they did security too, but people didn't pay them like they paid us. We were we were throughout Manhattan, Lower Manhattan. We stayed in Manhattan in the Bronx where we belong. We didn't go to Brooklyn. We did travel with Flash and all them to Queens and Connecticut and all that, but I'm talking about doing the security work. We were, you understand, all the club Roxy's and all that, all that down there. Even Guy Fisher, y'all, I think you better know who he was before he
Mm-hmm.
was away. He used to, there was a club called Shazamore. He gave that to us as far as security. Until as long as he held on to that, we did the security there every weekend. That was in Manhattan. We, and the DJs and promoters just knew who he was. When we came to the parties for the Casanovas, they, when I was there, and basically we didn't travel unless we traveled together. And most of my brothers, they were like, God is a good God. He always put me in the company of brothers that didn't run. Even though I wasn't as angry as half my brothers, I did not run, and they definitely didn't run. And my job was to stop them from doing a lot of things. And the Casanovas was just as powerful as the Spades was. Few in numbers, I was in about 1,000 more numbers, but a few in numbers, but they were powerful because they were a bunch of young boys who I say were angry, and I took that angry and I took that energy and I turned it into a force to be reckoned with. And what I mean by turning it into a force, that means I took them brothers and turned them into a powerful security team where we got paid. We got paid. And people were hiring us all throughout the Bronx, throughout the schools, throughout Manhattan. And Spidey and them would go with us and the skate key all up in the Bronx. We had big fight outs and all that other good stuff. And just have to say that we wanted to be victorious. I think as a leader of the Casanovas from 78, 79, that I was a leader for even all up to the day for the leaders of those brothers. I think I only lost two brothers. Peanut that got shot, and I think that's it. Peanut was the only brother that got killed on our watch, and we was at 163 on Tremont. We was all up there, and this I must say to you, as a Casanova, all the Spades that who I ran with in the 70s started coming back out. They started, that's when the hip hop really was growing, and everybody was going to a Flash event. And when they found out that we was all at the door, they came because they said, yo, Daddy done let us in. And of course they got in because they were our brothers. But even if I let 100 of my brothers in, it wasn't compared to the 200-300 of people that paid to come through the door. So I didn't upset no money. But these were my Spade brothers, so they all started coming through. And the day that Peanut got killed at 123. Him and brother Joe Kidd from the Boston Road Crew. And today, him and I have no beef. It's like I can't explain to you. It's a thing where you live, you learn, and as far as it's like there's no more vengeance to be had no more. We all old men trying to live different lives now. But I have seen him, he have seen me. We ain't had nothing to say to each other, but it's just now if I'd have seen him back in the days, no telling what would have happened if he'd have seen me or I'd have seen him once he got out of prison and stuff like that. But anyway, so at 123 up there near Boston, up there near Tremont, that's where Peanut got killed at. Him and Joe, they was arguing. And it was a territorial thing. Still, they was all selling that Reverendite dust. Both of he's selling it, Peter and them selling it. And I think that day just got too far out of hand. Joe left, came back. That big wall is down there. He never came up. He fired 2 shots. Everybody in that party had guns. They just pulled their guns out and just started shooting. And whether you brothers want to believe this or not, they just started shooting. And when they realized it, they were shooting at the police. Joe had been gone. So when the police was trying to pull up, everybody ran back into school and threw their guns away. Me and my brother and T, you understand, we ran inside too, and then we came back outside, and Peanut was the only one on the ground. We didn't know he was on the ground until we came back outside. And so the police was going to leave him. We didn't know. Me and NT picked him up. We ran down to the police car with them. They ran down with their guns in their hand because they still scared. They never came in the party now, mind you. They never came in. They just picked Peanut up with us, and there had to be about 10, 12 cars, all of them down there with their guns out. We just picked, me and NT picked Peanut up, and we took him down to the car, and he passed away in our arms. That's how I became, but see, at that time, he was still ahead of the Casanovas. I became the head of the Casanovas because now it was a new crew to be fought with. When they started fighting the 9 crew, and they came in, can you still see me? Because this thing says, okay, it's back. So, the brothers came knocking on my door in the middle of the night saying, yo, Tiny, the 9 crew want to talk to the head of the Casanovas. I said, what y'all knocking on my door for? I ain't no head of no Casanovas. They said, yes, you are. So I got another title, and I never asked for it, but I took it and I ran with it, and it saved a lot of lives. That's all I could say to you, brothers. It saved a lot of lives, and
Mm-hmm.
and this is why I started TBS New Direction.
Before we get into TBS New
Yeah,
Direction,
yeah.
let's pause, let's end this one, and then we'll go right into that. Hold on a
Okay,
second, brother.